You know what's really sad is that at some point in my life, I apparently thought this was a shirt that I just had to buy. What's up everyone, John from ARTV. The last time the Shins put out a record, I was buying shirts like this. This is the Shins' 5th album, and I believe their 2nd on Columbia Records. The new one is called Heartworms, and this one is definitely a more infectious and more lively project. Not to knock their last album, Pour Tomorrow, at all, because I thought that was a really solid outing. But that, combined with Broken Ballz, it just kind of felt like they couldn't really differentiate between the two projects all that much. Not that I was complaining, because I'm a huge Broken Ballz fan, but that last album did have some moments that just dragged a bit. It was like, maybe if we had added some more Danger Mouse in there, we could have just made this another Broken Ballz LP. James Mercer, the leader of the Shins, took a break from music about 8 years ago after just getting totally burned out after the Shins were blowing up. Right after Wincing the Night Away, he ended up taking a break after they finished that tour. He ended up firing all of the members of the original lineup and bringing on new people, and then years later he hooked up with Danger Mouse and they did the project Broken Ballz, which I am a huge fan of, which I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion, but for the most part, I would say that that slightly edges out some of the Shins' stuff for me. I really dig Broken Ballz, but I enjoyed their last album as the Shins, Pour Tomorrow. It was a bit darker. Here on Heartworms, we're looking at some lighter material for the most part, and I'm having fun with it. Honestly, I'm connecting with a lot of these tracks. Some of them are more electronic in nature, even a tropical flavor, some danceable stuff flowing in and out throughout Heartworms, and it's kind of a nice pulsating vibe that I find to be quite good. James Mercer has always been a very talented songwriter, but this time around he's not only writing all of the songs, he's also producing all of them, an entire record. So it's really just James Mercer at the control helm here. What will he do? And their most experimental song, I feel like, to date comes on this record. It's called Cherry Hearts, and it is an absolute jam. This song is so glitchy. It's got the synthesizers that really make the entire mold for the song, and as it progresses, they kind of just move in different directions, steady the song, or else throw it into a different course. We don't really know what's coming next, and that's what makes this such a fun song. Mildenhall has that tropical flavor that I was talking about, but not in the trend-hopping way that so many artists are jumping on these days. It's like, oh, dancehall might have a popular vibe, let's go do that. Maroon 5 or whatever else band is jumping on that. The Shins aren't doing that. They just kind of have a light, flowing, islandy vibe, and it is so nice. It has those mallets kind of knocking through the chorus, drifting you off into a dream world, and it's something that's kind of ethereal and unlike anything the Shins have ever done before. I wouldn't say this album is hook-centric by any means, but the choruses that are there are impactful and well written. They're smartly worded, and for the most part I can say the same for the verses that come on this record. Moments like Dead Alive are some of my favorites just because they kind of have an off-kilter style to them. There's some nice guitars layered in there, but at the same time they work in the electronics, maybe some keyboards, some different drum styles as well, something that's maybe not necessarily akin to the Shins, but at the same time they're not afraid to push themselves without totally alienating their fan base. Other big standouts for me were the opening pair, Name For You and Painting a Hole. That one in particular, the latter of those, is one that's so infectious with the vocal melody on the track and the way that it layers on several different instruments and that sort of thing. And also Name For You, it's something in the lyrical department. He's basically talking about this former relationship, it seems, and not knowing exactly what to call. We've got a name for you, etc., and it goes on, and as you listen to the details of the story a little bit more, it gets a bit more complicated, and I like seeing that from Mercer. There's a few that fall by the wayside, a little bit more on the dull side of things, like the closer that just drags for a little bit too long. It's called The Fear, and that one, with a track that comes right in the middle of the track listing here, Rubber Balls, is like led by an acoustic guitar. You could say similar things for The Fear as well, but it's not doing anything new. They're perpetuating new grooves throughout the majority of the record, but moments like that kind of slow down the album's pacing for me. The title track, Heartworms, is a lot of fun though. I really do enjoy the guitar on that one. It is very steady. It's an acoustic guitar once again, but at the same time it doesn't feel stagnant like the moments that I was just talking about, and Mercer reaches his voice a little bit more into the stratosphere on this one, hitting some higher notes. I also enjoy the track Fantasy Island, although it does run for a bit long. That's another complaint that I could have for that one, almost 5 minutes. It does make, for the most part, good use of that time, just kind of exploring some adventurous themes. It's a fun melody that's looping really all throughout the tune, and while it does feel a little bit long, maybe it just overstays its welcome a bit, it's still something worth checking out. I'm pleasantly surprised with Heartworms as a whole. I didn't hear any of the singles beforehand, so I had no expectations, and it had been quite a while since I had actually listened to their music. I went back, checked some of the big singles just to refresh myself, I listened to a couple of the albums, and I just kind of started rekindling an old flame, and once I listened through this thing a few more times, it hit me a little bit more. I do give it a recommendation. I think you guys should check it out. I'm gonna give this thing a light 3.5 out of 5. If you've heard Heartworms, sound off your thoughts in the comments section down below. Leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel because friends still have friends. Go and subscribe. If you'd like to support me and help me do YouTube full-time, support my Patreon. It's the annotation over there, or top link in the description. A couple of recent videos right here. Social media linked in the description, and I will see you guys very soon right here on ARTV.